Well, hey everyone, welcome to another GoDaddy Pro meetup. My name is Marcus Burnett, and I am flying solo today. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about AI and WordPress and kind of how they work together. This is going to be somewhat of an overview, basic. It's not going to be a deep dive into AI, but I do have some demos that I've prepared for kind of how you can use some of the AI tools now with WordPress. And so we're going to take a look at that. I did pre record those, as you'll see when we get there. Just AI can be unpredictable, and I wanted to make sure that I had some results that were helpful and beneficial to you all. So when we get there, that will be a pre recording, and then I will hop back on afterwards. But before we get there, let me make my face a little bit smaller by sharing my screen here. And we'll start by talking about um, just a little bit about AI before we get there. So, what does AI really mean when people talk about AI? So, AI, artificial intelligence, as we know it right now, here in the summer of 2023, with tools like ChatGPT and Midjourney, is really a form of machine learning. It's not true intelligence. People like to think that it's intelligent, but it's really based on a few things. So we'll take a look. Machine learning is a form of artificial intelligence based on algorithms that are trained on data. It's just a fancy way of saying that uh, places like OpenAI have scoured they've allowed software to scour the internet and look at all of the information that exists up to a certain date, and then that data is fed into algorithms that basically train machines to understand what it is that the data is that's coming in and um, make predictions. So the algorithms and the trained data allow AI to predict what you're looking for in bite-sized steps. So without getting too deep and technical, basically the output is being returned to you little chunk at a time. And after each chunk, the AI looks back at what it's already written and tries to predict what the next chunk would be. That may be a series of letters or numbers or some bit of code or anything else like that. And in the case of some of the image generation stuff, it's narrowing down what you might be wanting based on what you've written in your prompt, and figuring it out kind of step by step, predicting what it thinks your next desired outcome is. And I just thought that this meme was kind of funny. Sent a birthday message to my mom and she teared up. It was written by ChatGPT. I think it's funny just because I use ChatGPT for so many things these days that I could imagine writing a happy birthday message using ChatGPT. So I've compiled a few of the most popular tools at the moment as we sit here and again, middle of 2023. Some of the best or most popular content generation tools are ChatGPT, which is created by OpenAI, and Bard, which is Google's content generation, and Chat. They're both chat platforms, and so they are good at content generation and a number of other things, but they behave in a conversation-like format. They've been trained to understand your prompts in a human readable format and provide back human readable content, again using its prediction algorithms. And then some of the image generation and manipulation tools that are popular right now are Dolly by OpenAI, also Midjourney, Firefly by Adobe, and then Photoshop in their beta has some image manipulation tools built in, and well, I'll actually take a look at almost all of these in the demos, except for I think Dolly is the one that I didn't include in the demos, but all the rest of the or Firefly as well. But we'll look at some image generation and manipulation tools, and some content generation, and a lot of the WordPress plugins that exist now are actually utilizing these technologies under the hood as well. So, what AI isn't, and I threw some interesting, to say the least, AI mistakes I think these are all from Midjourney and Dolly in the site. AI isn't perfect, so it's funny sometimes to watch how it struggles on things like hands and making sure that the human head is facing the correct direction. Artificial intelligence is not real intelligence, like we talked about before in that first opening slide. AI is trained on data and it's a prediction engine. It doesn't actually think for itself. It doesn't have true original thought or innovation. It's not going to come up with something that's never been seen before, never been talked about before, because it's only been trained on things that have been seen and talked about before. AI isn't sentient. That means it's not trying to find ways to conquer the world and take over everything. It is simply predicting what you would like to see or read and giving that back to you. It's also not always accurate. So I do preface that in some of the demo pieces is that you do really need to make sure that what the AI is giving you back is accurate. And I've seen a couple of places where that's gone wrong. These images are one example. There was an article a few months ago about a lawyer that had used ChatGPT to had asked ChatGPT to give it some previous cases that basically set a precedent for his client, and the cases were all completely made up by AI, and so got in some serious trouble by not reviewing the accuracy of the content that was given back. And AI isn't taking your job. Again, it's not accurate all the time. It's not reliable. That's why I pre-recorded the demos. It's not perfect, and a lot of people are worried about that, but it's not there, and I don't think it'll be there for a long time. However, and I've seen this, I didn't make this up. It came from somewhere else on online that I saw. AI isn't going to replace you. Someone who uses AI is going to replace you, and so I think the lesson to be taken from all of this is figuring out how you can leverage some of the AI tools that we have now to just be more productive and faster in the work that you do, and not worry so much about AI taking your position or other folks' jobs just yet. So, with that, I am going to jump into the demos. Like I said, this was pre recorded, so I'm going to hit play on that. But I will be in the chat area during the demos and answering any questions that people have along the way. So, please do join me in the chat area as you watch along. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. All right, well, we're going to start with ChatGPT, and we're going to do a few different things here. If you don't have a ChatGPT account already, you will need to sign up and create one. But everything that I'm doing here, you'll be able to do for free without having to pay for any kind of ChatGPT update or pro version. So I also have a demo WordPress site set up here. It just has a couple of WooCommerce products because we're going to look at doing a couple of WooCommerce things. And so I needed to throw a couple of things in here. So the first thing that I want to look at is using ChatGPT to just write short snippets, little code snippets to do certain things. So I'm going to head over to this pot. I'm going to add it to a cart. Then I'm going to head to the cart. Everything just standard WooCommerce so far. We'll proceed to checkout. And the checkout page is notoriously long, lots of fields. And I always recommend that you get rid of any of the fields that you don't need. And so there are several plugins that do this, that you can edit the checkout experience, but you can also do it with code snippets. And so what I really want to do actually is remove the company name field here because I don't think I'm going to need that. And also the phone number field. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to head to ChatGPT and I'm going to say, pretend that you are an expert WooCommerce developer. I always like to tell ChatGPT what their role is, what ChatGPT's role is, and I find that that helps just produce better results that are more tailored to the actual software. So whether it's WordPress or WooCommerce or specifically a PHP developer, a JavaScript developer, I find that it provides back better results. So I say, pretend that you're an expert WooCommerce developer, please, because I'm polite. Please write a PHP code snippet that removes the company name and phone number fields from a WooCommerce checkout page. And I will hit go. And ChatGPT will start writing for us. Certainly, here's a PHP code snippet that you can use to remove the company name and phone number fields from the WooCommerce checkout page. Gives us a block of code and says you can add this to your themes functions PHP or create a custom plugin for this code. And we're going to do this actually a third way, which is using a code snippets plugin. So let me copy this code and I'm going to swap back over to our site here. And I'm actually going to open our admin area in a new tab so we can jump back and forth. Go to the snippets. It's just a plugin called Code Snippets. You can look for it on the WordPress repo. Nope, not add a new plugin. I'm going to add a new snippet. And let's call this remove fields from checkout. And I'm going to paste this in. Got a nice little comment and everything. You always want to review the code, even if you're not a developer. Kind of take a look at it, see if it makes sense to what it's doing. I see that it says remove the company field. It's doing this. That kind of makes sense. Remove the phone field, and then returning the fields. This is happening at WooCommerce checkout. Everything looks pretty good. I'm going to make sure that this only runs on the site front end. That way, if something were to mess up, we could still get back in here to the admin area and fix it. I hit save changes and I'm going to activate it. And now that it's active, if I come back over here and refresh, right, we see the company name right now and the phone. If I hit refresh on this checkout, company field is gone, and so is the phone field. So just like that, ChatGPT was able to help us modify our checkout page, and now we don't have a company or phone field to contend with, or our customers don't anyways, to contend with at the checkout. So that's one use for ChatGPT. I also have another snippet that I already loaded in here that I can't for the life of me remember what it does. And so I'm going to have ChatGPT take a look at the snippet and tell me. So I have add checkout field. That doesn't tell me a whole lot other than it adds something to the checkout. And when I come look at it, maybe I can figure out what it's doing, but there's a lot of code here and I don't remember exactly what it's happening. So I'm going to select all and copy this code, and I'm going to hop back over to ChatGPT in a new chat. I'm going to say, please explain what the following code is doing in my site. Explain it as if I am a 10-year-old. I've tried this a few different times, explaining code, and it likes to do a deep dive breakdown of what exactly every step in the code is doing. And that's not what I want. I kind of just want it to give me an overview of what's happening. And so I asked it to explain it to me as if I'm a 10-year-old. So let's try that. Let me paste the code in and I'll hit go. And it'll take just a second to think about it. All right. And then we get this code is used to add a file upload field. That's helpful to the checkout page on a website that uses WooCommerce, a popular WooCommerce platform. And let me explain to you step by step. So it does still go into explaining step by step what each of the pieces is doing, but now I know that it's a file upload field. I can kind of take a peek closer and see. And I do have a summary at the bottom. This code adds a file upload field to the WooCommerce checkout page, allows customers to upload a PDF application form, saves the uploaded file URL with the order, and displays the file URL in the admin area and order confirmation emails. So knowing my site and that I'm asking for application forms, I can see that this field is the one that or the snippet is the one that I added to add the PDF application form file upload to the checkout page. So that's super helpful as well. Explaining explaining code has come in handy lots of times, and ChatGPT does a pretty good job of it. If you wanted a more technical breakdown, of course, you could tweak your prompt to not say "explain it as if I'm a 10-year-old." ChatGPT does a pretty good job of breaking down each function and each step of the process in detail as well, like it did here. But this is going to be um, a little bit simpler than it could give you the answer. All right, let's move on. Let's say you're wanting to create a plugin, right? That first code snippet said we could put in a custom plugin, uh, but we need to know how to quickly generate a plugin file. So the way that plugins are structured, I'm not going to go into building a WordPress plugin, but essentially your main plugin file has some information at the top that tells about the plugin itself, some details about the name and version and all of that. And I can never remember that. And I can Google it if I wanted to, or ChatGPT does a pretty good job of filling some things in for me. So I'm going to say, pretend you are an expert WordPress developer, right? Let's make sure that ChatGPT knows where they're coming from. Pretend you're an expert WordPress developer. Please create the please create a new WordPress plugin file for a custom plugin called, let's see, I don't know, new post every day. Do not include any functionality. I did this before, and I asked it to do just for some made up plugin name, and it tried to go ahead and start creating the plugin for me to do what it thought that I was looking for it to do based on the title of the plugin. And so I want to not include any functionality, just give me the plugin setup. All right. Give it a second to think here, and it's going to generate a plugin setup for us. So this code will go in the main file for your new plugin. It's already filled in the plugin name and gives you all of the different pieces that you need. Now, you're going to want to obviously copy this and replace the information with whatever your plugin does and your author info and all of that. But it's already gone ahead and gotten you set up very quickly with getting a new plugin started. And it also gives you a little bit of an explanation underneath about what each of the pieces are, and that way you know what to fill in there. Lastly, I want to look at using ChatGPT for, lastly is in terms of the code side of things, asking ChatGPT to do some plugin recommendations. So let's say that we want to build a membership site, and we want ChatGPT to give us 10 options for membership plugins. That should be fairly easy. So let's say, pretend you are an expert at building membership websites with WordPress. Please create a table of possible membership plugin options, with the first column being the name of the plugin and the second column being a short description of the features. Please create a table of 10 Possible membership plugin options, with the first column being the name of the plugin and the second column being a short description of the features. And that gives us a little bit more to go on than simply the name itself. So let's start with that and see what ChatGPT gives us. So these are in no particular order because I didn't really ask it for a particular order. I just asked it to give me 10. But you can see that it was able to pretty easily create a table with 10 possible membership plugin options and a short description of the features. So, MemberPress offers easy setup for membership sites with powerful features like content dripping, access control, and integration. WooCommerce memberships, Restrict Content Pro, Paid Memberships Pro, Ultimate Member, and so on. The only caveat to this that I want to just make sure that everyone is aware of is that the information that ChatGPT has, if you're not using browsing with Bing or one of the other plugins that searches the web, is that ChatGPT's own knowledge ends at in September of 2021, and so any of these options are going to be presented from before that time. Those are ones that existed with features. The features that are listed here are features that existed before September 21. So there may be additional features that have been added to any of these since then. And there may also be other options that exist since then. So this is kind of a starting point to do a little bit of research. It's not the end all be all, but it does have a lot of really great content and is able to share that and give you at least a starting point. I probably also should have added a column here for a link to the plugin website, and that would have made it easier to jump to each of these and take a look. Let's see, maybe we can even do that. Rewrite the table to include a third column that links to the plugin's website. Yeah, so there you go. It's easy enough to update what you have going on with ChatGPT. That is the chat portion of ChatGPT, is being able to go back and forth with the software to modify and tweak and update the things that it's given you. So now it says certainly. If I click on visit website, it opens up a link to WooCommerce memberships in a new tab. Okay, now let's move on to something a little bit more visual. Let's say I have this same shop and I have my items here, but I want to put a cover image up here at the top of some people cooking. Now, I could go look at some stock photo sites, try to find the right image, make sure that, all the licenses are there for being able to use people's likeness and everything, or I can use AI to generate an image for me. So I'm going to open up. This is Discord. I'm going to use Midjourney to generate an image. This isn't really so much a tutorial on Midjourney, so I will leave that for other folks who have already done that. But essentially, this Discord chat allows you to use Midjourney to generate images. So I have it set up here. I'm going to imagine, and that's how you prompt Midjourney to create an image. And I'm going to ask Midjourney to imagine a happy couple cooking together in a modern kitchen. And then you can add as much or as little additional information as you'd like. So I'm just going to say that I want this to be a photorealistic image. Otherwise, it may end up being an illustration. If you want an illustration, you can put illustration there, or 2D or 3D render, or all sorts of different things to help tell Midjourney what it is that you're looking for. But I'm going to keep this relatively simple, and I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to let that generate, and we'll see what we get when it's done. Okay, well, we got four different options. Midjourney always provides four options for you to take a look at, and then we have some choices that we can make down at the bottom. Now, this little recycle looking symbol means that I can retry this again. If I don't like any of the four options, I can just hit that and it will generate four new options for me. Or we have U1234 and V1234, and these are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4 from top left to bottom right. And the U stands for upscale. If we like one of them and we would like to make it bigger to save, we can do that. And the V stands for variation. So if we like one, but we don't like it completely, we want to see a variation of it, then we can click V for variation as well. Now, I kind of like number two here. It's just going to be sort of a background in a cover block, so it doesn't need to be too crazy. And I'm going to upscale that one. So we're going to grab number two here. Takes just a moment for it to give us an upscaled version. And we can take a look at that, make sure everything's pretty good. Midjourney has issues with fingers and hands sometimes. Like this one's not perfect, but again, it's going to be in the background, fairly small and hard to see, obscured behind an overlay. So I'm not too terribly worried about that. So we're going to go ahead and save this one. So I'll hit open in browser, and that will open up this image in a browser for us. And I will just drag it out to save it. Let's close that and hop back to our site. I'm going to edit the page. And where we have our products block here, let's let that load. I'm going to click on it and say insert before. We're going to add a cover block. And I'm going to upload this image. Actually, I think I can just drag it here. So I'll do that. And I'm going to say browse our products. And then I'm going to make this a little bit shorter. I want the focus of this image to be kind of right here in between their faces to make sure that they stay in frame when this box changes widths. And let's see, take the overall opacity and maybe brighten it just a tiny bit. Let's hit update and go see what our page looks like. And there you go. Now you can't tell that they're cooking because of the width of the box. So maybe I'll edit this and change a couple of things so that we can make sure that that's happening. Let's choose our cover block here, and I'll make it a bit taller again. And maybe we'll change the focus point back kind of here in between them. And hopefully that'll keep the cooking in frame. So save and hit view page. And now it cuts their heads off. Let's make one more tweak here. Just to try, and this is a little bit of a back and forth. This is kind of a block limitation, not so much about the image, but I want to tweak it anyways. And I'll just make this a bit taller. Let's update and hope that that works out for us. So that's not too bad. There are other things that we could do, add some custom CSS and other things to kind of clean that up a bit more, but that kind of does what we want it to do. So the next thing I want to look at is Photoshop's beta generative fill. And we're going to use that to take this blue fancy cooking pot and we're going to put it in a scene and put it in the kitchen. So a lot of times I recommend showing a product like this, but also in use and what it looks like in the environment. And so we're going to take a look at that. So I open up Photoshop beta. You do need to have a Creative Cloud subscription and download the beta. This is not yet in main Photoshop, in the main Photoshop app, but in the beta version, you can use Adobe Photoshop's generative fill. So let me go ahead and open the image of the pot that I have. And what we're going to do is I'm going to hit select subject to quickly let it select the pot for me. And it did a pretty good job, but there's still some open space here in the handles. So let me quickly deselect the white space in the handle area. And of course, if this was your product, I would recommend spending a little bit extra time just making sure that you get a pretty good selection of the product that you're trying to put in a space. And I'm pretty happy with that. So let me select the inverse. So now we're not selecting the pot, we're selecting the white space around the pot. Don't worry about the shadow. Generative fill is pretty good at filling those things in. So let's click generative fill, and then I'm going to say a modern kitchen with a light granite countertop. I'm hoping that this creates a kitchen in the background for us and puts the pot itself on the countertop. So let's hit generate and see what we end up with. Now, this doesn't take quite as long as Midjourney's generation, so I'm just going to keep talking through it while it works it out. And there you go. Already pretty good. Pretty good results. We do have a couple of options. Photoshop's generative fill gives you 3 options, so there's the second one, also very good. I like that it kind of has that bluish color to kind of match the pot a little bit. Or the third one, which is not bad, but maybe the perspective is a little bit off on this one. But you can see that it's generated the shadow as well and a reflection on the countertop of this pot. So let's look back through here. It's done the same. Here's the shadow. The reflection's kind of light, but not bad. I think I'm going to go with this one. And so when you're happy with it, you can just save this out. So I will do that real quick. Save a new version here. You could certainly play with changing the background some more if you wanted to. This is not how to create the best product photo so much as it is showing off the capabilities of generative fill. If this was your product photo, might recommend doing a little bit more cleanup, but the base foundation is pretty good there. So um, let me go ahead and save this. And I'll just save it to the desktop. And then we can, once it's done saving, hop back over to our site, edit our product, and maybe we'll leave this one and add the lifestyle photo to the gallery images here. And I'll just drag our new photo in. And add it to the gallery. And hit update. And then we'll go view our product and we can see that we now have a regular photo and we have a lifestyle photo with it sitting in a kitchen. While we're here, there is also one other thing I meant to show you when we were looking at ChatGPT, and that is taking long descriptions like this and creating short descriptions. Like there should be a short description up here for us. When you just come to this page, you don't see a whole lot of info. It's all down here at the bottom. And so what I want to do is I want to take all of this and copy it. And then we'll hop back over here to ChatGPT, start a new chat and say, pretend you are an expert product marketer using the long description below. Create a short product description that is no longer than 100 words. And then we'll share that whole description. We'll paste it in. So that whole thing is there. And I'll hit go. And what we'll get is the short description based on what was given to us above. Introducing Le Creuset Signature Dutch oven, a must-have for both professional chefs and home cooks. Stunning blue Dutch oven features a creamy enamel coating, ensuring it remains impervious to acid. Obviously, make sure that you read over your description to make sure that it is indeed correct and accurate. This is your product, so you'll know whether or not this is accurate or not. And you can tweak it and make some changes if you'd like. But then it's easy as taking that and coming back over, hitting edit product. And then we can scroll down here once this is all loaded in, down here to product short description, and we can paste that in. And then when we hit update on that, and we go view our product, now we have a bit of a description up here at the top that isn't just, this paragraph copied up higher, causing you to have two identical pieces of content on the page, but an actual summarized version of the contents down below. Okay, finally, let's take a look at a couple of WordPress plugins that are utilizing some AI functionality. I have a site here that I already have Jetpack AI or Jetpack installed on and connected to WordPress.com and all of that. I'm not going to go through what connecting Jetpack and adding it to your site looks like, but if you want more information about Jetpack and their AI assistant, just go to jetpack.com/AI. But we're going to take a look at it here. So this is just going to be our test Jetpack AI page. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to look for the AI assistant. Now, notice it does say that it's experimental at the moment. So I do know that things are coming that will make this more stable, more reliable, and all of that. But I want to take a look at it anyways because I think it does work pretty well. Um, Basically, you create an AI assistant block, and then you can use it to ask Jetpack to create some content for you. And then, as you'll see, we get down to looking at it, that you have the option to make some changes before committing that block to the page. So let's just get started by taking a look here. And I'm going to ask it to do something a little bit more fun. Let's say create a table with 15 Star Wars characters. In the first column, add their name. In the second column, label whether they are human or alien characters. And we will leave it at that. So hit enter and let's see what we end up with. So we've got a list of 15 Star Wars characters. Looks like none of them are repeated, which is great. It does have a column for human or alien. I do see that we have a couple here that aren't human or alien. So I needed to either be less specific about what I'm looking for or more specific in including the types of things that I want. And we have, so this isn't yet committed to being on the page, right? If I hit accept, I can continue to make changes and refine my request here. So let me go ahead and do that. Label whether they are human, alien, or droid characters. And I'll hit send. And that will take a look at what was already there and revise it for us. So I've got name, species. Looks like it's the exact same list that we had before, which is great. But now I see R2D2 and C3PO and BB8 have been labeled as droid characters. And so let's add another column. I haven't actually tried this, so let's see what happens. In the third column, tell me which movie or show this character was first introduced. And I don't know what's going to happen, so let's hit send and find out. Yeah, so there you go. Now we have all 15 of those with human, alien, and droid designation, and we can see which Star Wars episodes. They look like they're all from the main storylines, the main saga, and it tells us which of the episodes these were first introduced. And so if I'm happy with that, I can hit accept, and now that table is on the page for me. So if I hit publish, then I have this page with all of the characters. So that's the Jetpack Assistant. It does a ton more. Like I said, take a look at jetpack.com/AI. There's a video here, and you can see that you can get content. You can change the tone of content. Maybe we'll take a quick peek at that actually while we're here. So let's grab this snippet that we had from our Dutch oven pot earlier. And if I Actually, let's see. I think it needs to already be in a AI assistant block. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's paste in our content. And then with this megaphone here, we can change the tone. So this is probably somewhat formal already. Let's change it to humorous. And so now it rewrites the entire thing in a humorous tone. Prepare yourself for culinary awesomeness with the Dutch oven, ultimate weapon in the hands of both professional chefs and home cooks. This bad boy boasts a mesmerizing blue hue that will make your kitchen the envy of every chef in town, and so on. So you can change the tone. If you like it, you can hit accept. If you don't, you can go ahead and try to change the tone again. And also translate into other languages. So let's say I want this to be in French. Then I can click on French and it will translate that block into French as well. I don't speak French, so I have no way of knowing whether or not this is actually correct. So definitely, that's the disclaimer there. Make sure that you know what you're publishing says what you want it to say. From there, let's move on to a different plugin. And I want to talk a little bit about the WS Form plugin, which just released a new feature that allows you to create a form using an AI prompt. So let's go ahead and add a new form. I do have WS Form Pro and the OpenAI add-on installed on this site, so you do need those to do that. But once you have those in, you can go to the OpenAI tab and see AI generated form as an option. So let me click on Use Template, and what you'll see is a place to type in a prompt. So I'm going to ask this to create a job application form that includes the following fields. First name, last name. Let's see. Let's go with desired salary. Let's see. PDF, resume upload, cover letter PDF upload. What else? I think just maybe an email address and an email address. And let's have it add a bit of help text for each field. So I hit create, and that took maybe 20 seconds to write a prompt asking for those things. And here we go. We have first name, last name, desired salary, resume, cover letter. You can see that these are file upload fields, so that's great. Desired salary is a number field. Email is an email field. And then we have a note letting us know that this was the engine, the OpenAI AI engine that was used to create this form, and some stats on the number of tokens used as well. So then, just like any other WS form, you can make some changes here. So let's say I want resume and cover letter PDF uploads to be next to each other like that. I can do that, and I can move things around if I want to, remove things, add things if I want to change this submit button to say apply. I can do that. And then if I hit preview, then we can see that that's been created. And here's the help text that it created for each one of those. Please enter your first name, last name, upload your resume in PDF format, cover letter in PDF format, and so on. Then you can hit apply. And then you can you can add the form anywhere you'd like in your site using the shortcode or one of the built-in blocks or page builder widgets or any of that. WS Form integrates with lots of different page building options, and so you can add your form in a number of different ways to the site. For more info about some of the WordPress plugins that exist that utilize AI, I would highly recommend checking out wpaiuniverse.com, which has a collection of WordPress plugins for creating content, code, media, forms, SEO, and chats. And each one of these has its own description and link to the site to learn more. And Also, there's a video page on WordPress on WPAUniverse.com as well, with all sorts of videos from across YouTube talking specifically about WordPress and AI. Some of them tutorials and how to's, some of them announcing new things like Jetpack AI Assistant and Elementor's AI and stuff are in here as well. So do check that out. That is constantly updated, as is the plugin page as well. So check those out for more WordPress and AI resources. Well, thanks everyone for thanks Adam for letting me know that I was muted. That's I've left it muted on purpose. I think that's enough of my voice for today. So I'm going to leave it at that. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I left some of my contact details here. You can mostly the easiest way to find me is on Twitter. There's also contact through my website, but please check out WPA Universe, WS Forum, Jetpack AI, and all the other things. I'm going to make sure that I include all of the links that were mentioned throughout this in the replay that gets sent out. This has been recorded, so I will send out a replay to this when it gets posted to the GoDaddy Pro YouTube channel. And I will make sure that that gets emailed back out to the email that you registered for this with. So be on the lookout for that in your inboxes with all the links and the video replay and all of that if you want to share it. Thanks everyone for joining me again. We also have a couple of other events coming up in August, so please make sure that you check out events.godaddy.com for those. And I will see you all next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.